new effort in northern Kentucky would make grooming of kids or trying to convince them into inappropriate contact or relationships a crime.
Now, this comes after Ohio enacted a similar law earlier this year and after an area lawmaker saw it happen up close. Local 12's James Pilcher joining us now live from Burlington with the story you'll see only here on Local 12. James.
Union lawmaker Marianne Proctor says the daughter of a good friend was groomed in an attempt for sexual contact, making her keenly aware of this ongoing issue. That came as investigators here at the Boone County Sheriff's Office were looking for a way to criminalize that behavior. Now the two have teamed up to get a new law passed next year in Frankfort.
This came to me from a constituent. Most of my legislation is constituent driven, and this was a passionate constituent that had a grooming episode happen to her daughter.
That's State Representative Marianne Proctor, a Republican, talking about how she started trying to criminalize so-called grooming behavior. That's when an adult slowly builds trust through different means to eventually enter into a sexual activity with a minor. At the same time Proctor got involved, the investigations unit with the Boone County Sheriff's Office was also looking for ways to charge those who may not have crossed the line into sexual contact, but who were still working toward that. Major Philip Ridgel declined to provide specific examples, but says instances are a constant with investigators, pointing out there are ways to charge someone who forcibly tries inappropriate contact but is stopped short.
The grooming, though, we don't have that, and so we were looking at those means as a pathway of, how do we do right by victims? How do we do right by victims' families?
Kentucky would join Ohio and a handful of other states with such laws on the books, while many other states have avoided such legislation because it's difficult to prove and raises civil rights questions. How do you make sure it might be an innocent situation and their civil rights are not violated?
The law specifically would state what a reasonable person, that's a key indicator in all of this too. It is a course of conduct, so it's not a standalone instance. It's a continual course of intentional conduct.
The proposal would make a first offense a misdemeanor unless it involves a child under 14 or if the adult is in a so-called position of authority, such as a teacher, minister, or coach. Then it would become a felony, as would a repeat offense. Now, Proctor hopes to get some hearings going underway on this fall, and then introduce it as a bill for the General Assembly when they get back into session in January in Frankfort. Live from Burlington, James Pilcher, Local 12 News.
All right, James, thank you so much. Ohio's grooming law went into effect back in April, and it's now illegal for an adult to engage in a pattern of behavior with a child under 16 who is also more than 4 years younger than the adult. Now, grooming is defined as coercing, soliciting, or enticing the child into sexual activity. Penalties range from a first or second degree misdemeanor for the first offense to a felony for situations involving children under 13, or if the adult is in a position of trust like a teacher or a coach. It can also be a felony if the adult has previous convictions for grooming or other sexual offenses.